brilliant creatures.
I'm Stephen.
I'm Gail.
And let's have a look at what's coming up on today's show.
Stephen's challenge today? To identify this mystery creature whilst blindfolded. Well, you might be able to guess what it is, but will he?
Could you be living near a watery monster as big as a great white shark? Find out a bit later. Gail's challenge is to shear one of these. Find out what it is and how it looks after its makeover. And meet a man who had a close encounter with a stampeding 8-ton elephant and lived to tell the tale, but only just.
And would you believe us if we told you that there were scorpions living in the wild in the UK? Find out if it's true later in the show.
There are some animals that are so distinctive looking that they're instantly recognisable. For instance, if I showed you these pictures, well, that one's obviously a zebra, and I'll bet everybody knows that that's a tiger.
But what if you couldn't use your eyes?
What if you had to rely on your other senses? Well, we've got an animal in the studio that Stephen hasn't seen. It's waiting just off set. And we're going to blindfold Stephen so he can't see what it is. Right, is that on? And he just has to rely on his other senses to see if he can work out what it is. Right, Hannah, if you want to bring in our mystery animal. Now, for those of you that don't recognise it immediately, it's on your screen now, OK? So, Stephen, that's Hannah's arm.
Okay.
Down a bit. OK,
Oh,
there you go.
Oh, it's soft.
It's very furry.
It's very soft. Is it a cat?
No, it's about the size of a cat, though.
OK, is it... well, it wouldn't be as easy as a dog, surely. A dog?
No.
I don't know, it smells a bit, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, and, OK, good clue is
this
you're
his
in
bum?
the right
I'm
direction.
going to touch his bum.
No, you're still on his back.
Oh.
OK, those little feet he's got, he uses those for burrowing into the ground.
OK.
And
he burrows a badger. A badger.
No, it's not a badger.
OK, give me more clues. I don't know. Go on.
OK, well, it's got a tail that it sticks up when it feels threatened to warn off would-be predators.
OK. Is it a raccoon?
No, it's not a raccoon, but that is actually close in some ways. Just be careful, don't go too close to his head.
I can feel it. Do they bite?
They can bite. They've got very sharp teeth. In fact, this one won't because it's hand-reared.
Do you know something? It really smells.
OK, I'm going to give you one final very good clue. It's got a very distinctive coat.
See, the thing is,
Black and white.
I would say it was a skunk, but I know that fact you wouldn't let me have a skunk.
OK, I tell you what,
in the
take
studio,
your blindfold off.
It's not a skunk,
have a look.
is it?
Well, have a look.
Don't tell me it's a skunk. Oh, it is a skunk. And that's why it smells so bad.
It stinks.
That's out of order.
But I tell you what, it hasn't sprayed, though, because obviously skunks are famous for spraying. If it had, then we'd all be in real trouble. We wouldn't be able to breathe. Our eyes would be streaming. This is how they smell all the time. And, you know, if it had sprayed, there's only one thing you can do about it.
What's that?
You have to use tomato juice.
You can't pour tomato juice over a skunk.
No, not for the skunk, for you. You have to cover yourself in litres of it. And you don't even like tomato juice.
No, I don't. So I think we should quit whilst we're ahead. Thanks for bringing him in. Thank you.
You smelly little creature. There are loads of myths about sea monsters and creatures of the deep. To this day, people are still searching for the Loch Ness Monster. So would you believe me if I told you that there really was a monster of the deep living in the waters around the UK?
Well, it's true, and better still, there are loads of them. Now, this is a very small example. It's a young giant whale's catfish, the biggest freshwater fish in the world. And the brilliant thing is, there could be one living in a lake near you. It may be small now, but the Wells catfish can grow as big as a great white shark. Seriously, about this big, making it a real monster. Now, this is a photo of a catfish that was caught in Spain, and we've blown it up just to show you how long they can get. Now, because of their size, they eat everything and anything they come across, and there are reports that they even attack and eat swans. Now, because of their impressive size, they're becoming very popular with sporting fishermen. And here is a picture of one of the brilliant creatures team who caught one in a river in Kent, and it weighed 15 kilograms.
Now, if you think that's big, have a look at this picture. This guy is Ron Woodward, and he's pictured there with a catfish that he caught in Spain, weighing over 78 kilograms. That is massive. In fact, that's more than Stephen weighs. But even that is not as big as some of the large specimens which are found in the big Russian lakes. It's reported that the local fishermen there actually use baby pigs for bait.
So the next time you go for a swim and see a shape move beneath the surface or get a tug on your line, beware.
You could be in the presence of the mighty Wells catfish. These beautiful little creatures are called alpaca. Now, alpaca are relatives of llama, and they're usually found living in the mountains of South America in large herds. But strangely enough, they can also be found living in a herd 700 strong at the foot of the South Downs in East Sussex, where they're farmed for their coats. Now, their wool can be spun into lovely soft woolen clothing, like this jumper here, and it's so soft, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, as you can see, their fleece looks a lot like a sheep's coat, but the wool is much stronger and finer than a sheep's. So in order to turn that lovely coat into wool, the alpaca has to be sheared. And guess what? I've been challenged to give it a go.
Now, this guy at the end, his name is Philip O'Connor, and he's the manager of the Atlantic Alpaca Farm. And this is one of his alpacas. Is in a very odd position here, is he all right?
He's absolutely fine. It's far better that they're lying down. You can control them that way.
Oh, OK, as long as he's OK. And this guy who's shearing away, he's a professional shearer by the name of Ben Wheeler, and he shears both sheep and alpaca, and he's going to be showing Gail all the basics. Are you ready?
Oh, well, I don't think I am, actually. Can you just give me a few tips on what I should and shouldn't do, Philip?
You want to try and hold the handset firmly, let it run smoothly along the body and follow the contours and relax. It's the best way.
I'm going to have to get on with it. I'm just scared I'm going to hurt it. Oh, that's heavy.
Good luck.
All right. I'll just help you with the first
I'm not going to hurt it, am I?
All right, no, you'll be all right.
Okay. Oh, flat.
That's it. And then you're going to
okay. Hold it tight, Stephen.
How's you doing, Philip?
Excellent. Very good job.
Okay.
Not that way.
Oh,
watch the belly now.
Yeah.
You're doing good.
Oh, that's even
you're all right.
close to the skin. Look at that.
Just a short back and sides.
All right, we're going to follow my hand a little bit there. That's it, yeah.
So thick.
How does it
There's
feel?
so much of it.
There.
Well, it's so thick.
Got one more blow, I think, along the belly here.
See if you can do it. Last bit.
A bit up through here, you got there.
Go on, Gail, on your own.
Right.
Go on.
Oh, now this could be a disaster. Oh, no, look, I did
You've
it.
done it.
Look at that.
You completed it. Is it done?
How do we turn this off then?
Pull that there, and away we're done.
Well, look at this. I've just sheared an alpaca. That's not something you do every day, is it? It's so soft.
There you go. Now all you've got to do is make the jumper. So how do we get him off then, Philip?
OK, we just slide him quietly to the edge of the table and then stand him gently onto his feet.
OK. OK.
Be careful, Stephen.
Yes.
After all my hard work.
Right.
OK.
Oh, he's down.
Oh.
Do you reckon he's halfway with your haircut?
I suppose. As good as it gets, anyway.
How do you like it, sir? Oh, he seems all right.
Thank you so much for coming in. You've been brilliant. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Ben. And Gail, nice one.
Thank you very much. Sheer joy, I'd say. The African elephant is one of the most formidable creatures on Earth. Huge feet, incredible tusks, and a powerful trunk that 1 minute can pick up something as delicate as a feather and the next crush a man to death. This is the story of one man who pushed his luck too far.
That man is renowned wildlife photographer Daryl Balfour, who had an unforgettable close encounter with one of the mightiest elephants in South Africa.
Chokwane was probably the second biggest elephant in Africa. We'd been looking for him for a year. The park ranger told us that he had seen Chokwane in a specific area and directed us to that area. It was shortly before 9 o'clock when I spotted a big elephant way off in the bush. I walked into the bush. He was about a mile and a half into the bush, and I approached him from behind because the wind was in that direction, and you always approach wild animals from downwind. Chokwane still wasn't aware I was anywhere near him, so I set up my cameras, and then I just made a slight noise, sort of tapped on my tripod, and he spun around.
When Chokwane sees Daryl, he adopts the threatening posture of standing tall, but Daryl continues to take his photographs.
Daryl's familiar with elephant behaviour, and even when the bad-tempered elephant makes a mock charge, Daryl stands his ground.
He came at me and made a series of mock charges, and eventually stopped about 5, 6, 7 yards from me.
But then Chokwane turns and walks away.
Thought, okay, I've got my shots, and I turned to walk back to the car. Well, being a photographer, I sort of looked back a few times. The bush was better, the setting was better, and I just thought, well, I'll just get a few more shots.
Without warning, Chokwane hurtles towards Daryl. Daryl continues to frantically click away, frame after frame of fantastic images, until something tells him he's gone too far.
He was about 3 yards from me and coming at 30 miles an hour. As I turned to try to get away, he lashed out and hit me with his trunk.
This is the last picture taken before the full force of a stampeding 8-ton elephant smashed into Daryl.
Before I could even think, he was on top of me, and there was just these huge feet just stomping and kicking, and it was just chaotic. My last conscious memory was these huge tusks coming straight at my head, and I pulled my head aside, and it caught me a glancing blow on the side of my head, fractured my skull and knocked me out.
Daryl's bruised and battered body was lying in the hot African sun for 90 minutes. When he came to, and knowing his wife Shana was waiting in a car nearby, he reached for his gun and fired 3 shots.
I was sitting in the vehicle at the time, and I heard 3 gunshots, and I just knew that he had been trampled. As I drove up, I could just see this bloody, mud-caked person with lots of cuts and abrasions all over, lying in the dust. All I could think of was, well, he's still alive. Nature took over, and I just became very calm.
Shana knows she must get Daryl to a doctor if he's to have any hope of survival. Daryl suffered extensive injuries. He had a dislocated hip, numerous broken ribs, a sprained ankle, abrasions all over his body, and a fractured skull.
I believe that the mistake I made was in that final charge, that I didn't stand my ground, that I actually turned up and turned my back on him. I've always felt that maybe if I'd stood up and waved my hands, clapped my hands and shouted, I could have stopped that elephant the way I'd stopped 100 other elephants in the past.
This is an emperor scorpion. It's one of the largest scorpions in the world. And although he looks pretty nasty, we have been assured that it is safe for Stephen to be doing this.
Now, although some scorpions are armed with stings that are filled with deadly venom, apparently this one here, fingers crossed, is not dangerous at all. And this one here actually lives in Southeast Asia.
But you also find scorpions all over Europe. But if I told you that we had scorpions living here in the UK, would you believe me?
Well, it's true. In fact, if you live in Kent, you could be living close to a population of scorpions.
This is the Isle of Sheppey in Kent, home to about 3,000 European yellow-tailed scorpions.
They've been living and breeding here for over 130 years.
How did they get here? Well, they snuck here on freight ships that were coming to the UK, and when they arrived and the cargo was unloaded, so were the scorpions. They then found the perfect habitat to live in an old brick wall at the docks, a bit like this one we've mocked up here.
Now, although there are loads and loads of scorpions living in the wall, they're very hard to spot during the day. But at night time, when it's all dark, on a warm summer evening, they do come to life. Now, you should be able to see them now, but if we use this ultraviolet light, look, can you see this here? Look. Let's see, is there any over that side? Let's move the light. There's one.
There's one.
There's one. Can you see that?
They glow at the UV light. It's absolutely amazing.
Just move it up and we'll see if we can spot some others.
It's bizarre.
Look, there's one there. Can you see that one in there?
Where? Oh,
Look,
yes.
See that?
Now, these small scorpions have a very mild sting and pose very little threat to humans.
Which is just as well, because workers at the dock have seen the occasional scorpion actually scuttle across their feet on the office floor.
You would freak, wouldn't you? But it seems that despite our cold weather, after 130 years, these scorpions aren't going anywhere. They're here to stay. And who knows, with the whole climate of the world warming up, what other exotic creatures are going to come and live on our shores? Well, that's it for today's show.
Now, if you want any information on anything that you've seen, why don't you check out our website? The address is on the screen now.
And we'll see you next time for some more of the world's most brilliant creatures.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
See ya.